Yeah, it's an important point. I'd love to jump into kind of that definition of NFTs, but I've had guests here that say even Bitcoin is you can tell if when one was minted as opposed to another one was minted. So they're not as fungible as you might think they are. And like you said, all Apple shares, each one was issued at a certain time. Some were on the IPO, some were secondary. Like you said, they're less fungible than you think they are. And so maybe we jump into this three-letter word, which I think is now more searchable than crypto, according to Google searches recently, NFT.
Yep.
I think probably one of the most misunderstood acronyms in the world. I think the world heard about it when Banksy, sold his 5,000 days, and all of a sudden people thought, oh, NFTs are digital things that cost ridiculous prices. And maybe we'll never get a true understanding of this with people, but how do you start by talking about fungible tokens versus NFTs? Like you just said, most of the things in the world are NFTs. That's an important place to start.
Yeah, I think I agree, which is NFTs are misunderstood. And what we've seen in 2021 is luxury art NFTs. And it's like saying to someone, hey, a JPEG or an image is only memes. It's just a very, very small vertical use case of that instrument, of that data construct or standard. And so right now, NFTs are horrendously mispriced as a collectibles asset class, as basically being luxury art, which, don't get me wrong, is an awesome use case. I think it's brilliant that artists can be economically empowered and that you can have this idea of digital scarcity. I think it's awesome to invert this concept of provenance and make it so that provably only a digital NFT can be unique, and even real world art can be, have questioned authenticity. But what we're going to see and what Immutable is focused on is how do we start tokenizing everyday stuff with utility, stuff you want to trade, not for the reasons of speculation and seeing it go up in price, but because you actually want to own and trade that asset. And one of the first verticals that we see as being really important in that segment is gaming, because for instance, in Gods Unchained, the trading card game that Immutable makes, the average trade value is $2. And people trade these assets because they want to use it to win a tournament or to win a game. And so we're talking about tokenizing things that everyday people want to own and trade to use, not just to speculate on. And that is the lens through which I think we can see the future of the industry. Because if you look at the adoption curve, the vast majority of value is not coming from the 50,000 odd rich collectors collecting, Beeples and sort of the expensive PFP projects. They're brilliant. Again, don't get me wrong, I really love what they're doing. And I think there's huge innovations around incentive mechanisms through things like BAYC, like Bored Apes and fractionalization. But the value is in the long tail. It's in how do we take this to 1 billion users across gaming? How do we open up liquid markets for things that are traditionally non-tradable? How do we take term deposits and make them tradable and suddenly have an efficient market for global interest rate? And so what the power of this stuff is providing liquidity to everything, creating the global market for any unique asset. That's incredibly powerful. It's off the trend of financialization that we've seen exponentially increasing over the past 2 decades. And it's absolutely inevitable over the next 2 decades.